Welcome. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining me tonight. It's our 9th annual Candlelight Vigil of Hope and Remembrance. My name is Lindsay. I was born and raised in Rockland, proudly born and raised. I'm honored to be emceeing again tonight. But I do always have mixed feelings when I'm standing up here and I look into the crowd, because I'm really amazed tonight and every night, every year, because it's been 9 years. 9 years, it's the 9th annual, and the incredible people of Rockland continue to fill the room every single year and support their community. It's really amazing to see. I love seeing it. But honestly, it makes me really sad, because it's been 9 years. 9 years, and it's still, maybe now even more than ever, it's relevant and it's needed. Every year after the vigil, we, Rockland CARES, and our partners, we talk about the night. We discuss what we think went well, what can we improve, what do we want to add. And something that I always knew, but it really hit home for me last year during the discussion, is that the vigil means something different for everyone. We all come here, and we all leave here with our own individual feelings and emotions. Some of our reasons or our why for being here overlap, but our story is personal to us. But if you've driven through Rockland the last few weeks, you would have noticed a wave of blue through town. Countless people proudly display their Rockland CARES signs on their lawns. People of all ages and backgrounds said, yes, I support that. So when I saw that, I couldn't help but think, okay, sure, yeah. Yep, we each have a different story that's brought us here tonight and that continues to bring us back every year. But there's one thing that brings us together when it comes to this epidemic, and that's love, right? We all have people in our lives that we love. That's something we can all understand. We understand love. I love funny, kind, and really smart people in my life, and I know that you do too. And it really brings it back full circle, because that's an important part of this mission of tonight's vigil, right? We're not naive. We know we're not going to solve this epidemic tonight. We won't solve it in the weeks, possibly not the months to come. We know that. But what we can take away from tonight is that we are all a lot more alike than we are different. And we can continue together to end the stigma of addiction. And though sometimes I think it's easier to see our differences and disassociate yourself from someone else's story or their struggles, the truth is our stories, ourselves, and the people in our lives are really not that different. I want you to think about the people that you love. And listen to this. Jen, she's smart and she's hardworking. Katie is shy, generous. She's an awesome teacher. Jessica is kind, thoughtful, brave, and trustworthy. Mike is helpful, he's quick-witted, empathetic, and creative. Paul, he is so funny, he's charming, and he's handsome. John is strong, he's funny, caring, and creative. Stephen, he was my first love. Ardeen is supportive and open to new things. And Daniel is proud, he's a natural comedian, and he's brilliant. The people I just described are real people. I reached out to some of my friends and my family, and I just simply asked them, describe people in your lives that you love. That simple. Some of these people I just described have struggled with substance use. Some have lost their lives to it. Others have never been directly impacted by it, have never experienced addiction. But simply put, that doesn't matter. Take that out of the equation, and that's something we can all relate to. Funny, smart, thoughtful, I get that. I understand that. I have that in my life. If people can just look at that in someone, in the person next to you, in their loved one, if you can just see those attributes in them, the stigma will end. Because everything else, and all of us in this room know this, that's not what they're defined by. Someone's not defined by a person who battles addiction just as much as I am not defined as someone who doesn't battle addiction. We're all the same. We love the same. And we deserve love just the same. So again, we know we won't solve this problem overnight. It's going to take time. I do promise you that we'll keep trying like hell until we do. And throughout, I will continue, and I ask you always to continue to help end the stigma. Don't wait for somebody to ask your story. Tell them. Tell them about the people you love. Tell them they were smart and they were funny. Tell them about yourselves. We have a role in this, and we all have a story to tell, so tell yours. Let's fight that stigma together, because let's face it, this epidemic and anything else that comes up against Rockland doesn't stand a damn chance. Thank you. Now, before our music and our speakers begin, which is why we are all here tonight, is to hear stories and to remember those we love, we've asked Holy Family and Father Driscoll to lead us in opening prayer.
Oh God, we come before you tonight, and we know that we are united by the power of love, which is stronger than death. And we are surrounded by those who care for us and help us to become more and more people of caring. Come with your compassion and make us more full of compassion towards others. And grant that we may all be channels of healing for one another. Amen.
Thank you, Father. Okay. So before we hear our first song in these powerful stories tonight, I would just like to take just a couple of minutes to say a couple special thanks. We wanted to thank the Brockton Area Preventative Collaborative, who are really, they're the reason that Rockland CARES exists and is able to do all that we do. They provide us with support and expertise, and they're at every meeting, and they provide us with funds, and really we are here because of them, so we want to thank them. BAMSI and Webster Park Rehabilitation Center, they provide space for us. Holy Family Church is always a wonderful partner for us. Rockland Public Schools for hosting us once again and welcoming us warmly. Rockland Board of Selectmen, WRPS, they're always wonderful partners in advertising and helping spread the word. Learn to Cope, Rockland Recovery House, an amazing program in town. They're wonderful partners. The Plymouth County District Attorney, and really just all of our volunteers. There are so many and too many to list, and to thank, and all of our community partners for just making this possible. And just one more special thanks tonight, because I always like to remind people that I'm up here, but I'm just one person standing here tonight, and I'm representing a whole lot of really hardworking, dedicated, and passionate people. Rockland CARES has an amazing group of people. I'm really just lucky enough to call them an extended family. Tonight, we wanted to take a minute to honor one of those volunteers in particular. So Mary McLaughlin, can you please stand? So Mary McLaughlin's a 1998 graduate of Rockland High School. She joined Rockland CARES last year, hit the ground running, and has not stopped since. Mary not only helps bring ideas to the table, but she's an active participant in making these ideas a reality. For our first fundraiser last year, Mary was responsible for bringing in countless and valuable raffle items. She's a true advocate, really a true advocate against substance use crisis, and we are so grateful she walked into our first Rockland CARES meeting and joined our team. So please join me in applauding and thanking Mary for all of her hard work. She had no idea, so she's totally put on the spot. Thank you. Now I'd like to introduce someone who's been with us for many years at the Vigil. Jennifer Kirby, every year, without hesitation, says yes. It doesn't matter when, it doesn't matter the date, and she joins us every year. So she volunteers her time and her voice, bringing beauty to every vigil. So please welcome Jennifer singing Three Things.
Hi. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me yet again. So this is a song by Jason Mraz that, to me, is just about seeing the good that's on the horizon, even when you're in the midst of the darkness. It's called Three Things. There are three things I do when my life falls apart. Number one, I cry my eyes out and dry up my heart. Not until I do this will my new life start. That's the first thing that I do when my life falls apart. Second thing I do now is I close both of my eyes, sing thank you to each and every moment of my life. I go where I know the love is, let it fill me up inside, gathering my strength from sorrow. I'm glad to be alive. Things are looking up. I know above the clouds the sun is shining. Things are looking up. Love is still the answer. I'm relying on three little things. Oh, 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 oh. The third thing that I do now when my world caves in is I pause, I take a breath, and now I let the chapter end. I design my future bright, not by where my life has been. And I try again. Yes, I try again. Things are looking up. I know beyond the dark the sun is rising. Things are looking up. I know above the clouds the sun is shining on. Things are looking up. And love is still the answer. I'm relying on three little things. Whoa, oh, 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 whoa, oh, 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 whoa, oh, 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 oh. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. Now I'd like to welcome our first speaker, who is known by many in Rockland. I've gotten to know her well the last couple of years as she joined Rockland CARES. And if someone asked me to describe her, I would say she's generous, she's thoughtful, and she's very persistent, among many other wonderful qualities. Please join me in welcoming my friend and fellow Rockland CARES Executive Committee member, Stacy Gardner.
Well, thank you, Linz. That was very kind. For those of you who may not know me, chances are you know a gardener. I'm the oldest of the 10 of us who grew up here in Rockland. Our parents grew up in Rockland. Our grandparents lived in Rockland. So to say we bleed blue and love this community is an understatement. My brother Mike was smart. He was quick-witted. He was hardworking, funny, and so well-loved. He was my friend, my cheerleader, my protector. He would do and did do anything for his family and his friends. He was also addicted to opiates. On April 18th, 2017, I received the phone call that would change our lives forever. Mike was in an ambulance on his way to the hospital. I had just pulled in my driveway, put the car quickly into reverse, and headed towards South Shore. Your brother is in cardiac arrest, and we don't expect a positive outcome. Time stood still. My mom and I watched as they tried so hard to save him, but he was gone. Knowing that death by overdose was a likely outcome of my brother's addiction in no way prepared us for this reality. There's no way to prepare to call my mom and tell her that she has to leave her floor at the hospital and rush down to the ER. There's no way to prepare to watch your brother die and watch your mom lose a son. There's no way to prepare to call my siblings and tell them all that Mike was gone. And there's so many siblings, so that's a lot of phone calls. This pain is unimaginable, as so many of us in this room know. And grief can be a really tricky place to live. Learning to do things without him that we would have done together, hearing a Johnny Cash song come on, or watching C.A.R.E.S. and trying not to break down in tears, having a memory pop in your head, and you find yourself just gasping for a breath that you can't find. But every second is a choice, and I'm choosing to try to find peace, to be patient with myself, to breathe deep, and I'm choosing to advocate. I never imagined myself in the role of an advocate in the recovery space until I was thrust into this world by my grief. While Mike was here, I thought all of my bandwidth to help should go to my person, right? Be invested in his recovery, his happiness, being there for him. With him gone, like so many of us, I'm angry, I'm sad, and I need to direct this energy into something positive. But how could I help everyone that's fighting this beast? My world changed again when I walked into my first Rockland CARES meeting. Admittedly, my mind was foggy with grief and my hands were shaking, but I was welcomed by such warm, understanding faces. I saw educators, parents, family members, people in recovery, and I could feel the understanding and the empathy throughout the room. There were people from all different backgrounds, all different generations, all so passionate about helping people like me, like my family, like Mike. I learned so much more about the multi-pronged approach that Rockland CARES and the Brockton Area Prevention Collaborative were using to fight this epidemic. So many of my conversations with Mike during relapse just boiled down to, I just wish I never tried it. We have to attempt to educate people so they don't try it in the first place. And through Rockland CARES, I've had the opportunity to help get the best and most appropriate education into our schools for the students and the parents. Through Rockland CARES, I've met people in recovery that are so moved by strangers listening to them and genuinely wanting to help them that it brought them to tears. Through Rockland CARES, I've had an opportunity to help research, find gaps, propose changes, and offer resources, no matter how small, that will save someone's life. I've had the opportunity to meet people in our community that see the work that Rockland CARES is doing and no longer feel so alone. They feel supported. I feel supported. Ironically, I think Rockland CARES has given far more to me than I could ever give to them. I just wish I had walked in that door sooner. I was so focused on supporting my brother that I overlooked that I needed support too. The pain and the darkness from losing your loved one threatens to suffocate you every day. But when I choose to turn on the light, I see so much goodness in our community. I see the amazing friends that I've gained through Rockland CARES and the Brockton Area Prevention Collaborative, collaborating and making such a strong impact on the people in the community that I love. And it gives me hope for a brighter future. Without this darkness and heartache, a brighter future without this epidemic. Thank you.
One more time for Stacy. This is not easy. I'm so glad she walked in our door a couple of years ago as well. So thank you. And now I just want to introduce Jennifer again with another beautiful song called Rainbow.
Hello again. So this is a song I heard for the first time actually just a few weeks ago that really resonated with me, and to me just meant, about how we have a tendency to kind of hold on to our negative coping mechanisms and how sometimes we don't see our own self-worth. I know many people who struggle in that way. And it's just a really beautiful song that hit home with me. Rainbow by Casey Musgraves. When it rains, it pours. Bet you didn't even notice. It ain't raining anymore. It's hard to breathe when all you know is the struggle of staying above the rising water line. The sky is finally open. The rain and wind stop blowing, but you're stuck out in the same old storm again. Hold tight to your umbrella, darling, I'm just trying to tell ya that there's always been a rainbow hanging over your head. If you could see what I see, you'd be blinded by the colors, yellow, red, orange, and green, and at least a million others. Tie up the bow, take off your coat, and take a look around. The sky is finally open. The rain and wind stop blowing, but you're stuck out in the same old storm again. Hold tight to your umbrella, darling, I'm just trying to tell ya that there's always been a rainbow hanging over your head. Just tie up the boat, take off your coat, and take a look around. Everything is alright now, 'cause the sky is finally open. The rain and wind stop blowing, but you're stuck out in the same old storm again. Let go of your umbrella, darling, I'm just trying to tell ya that there's always been a rainbow hanging over your head. Yeah, there's always been a rainbow hanging over your head. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Our second and final speaker tonight is Dennis, who has a story of recovery. He's a graduate of the Rockland Recovery House, and as I mentioned, I've met many of the men at the Recovery House, and they really represent what it's all about. And Stigmer, they're wonderful people, and they're wonderful partners to the community, and Rockland's lucky to have them here. So please join me with a warm welcome to Dennis.
Good evening, everyone. First, let me start by thanking everyone in this room. It takes a lot to keep you living your story. We each have our own reasons for attending tonight's visual. Whether you were directly affected by someone with a substance abuse problem, know someone who is struggling with a substance abuse problem, or simply here for a support system. What we all have in common is that we want to better understand how substance abuse ruins lives, better understand what our loved ones struggle with, and how you can help someone who struggles with this disease. I would like to circle back to this later. I would like to take a few minutes to share with you all about my journey. My name is Dennis, and I'm 40 years old, with an outwardly good life. Growing up, I loved playing hockey, soccer, and had endless opportunities to make something of my life. From the outside, there should be no reason for someone like me to be an addict. And to most, it was not evident I even had a problem. I hid my addiction like it was my full-time job. I hid it through 2 relationships, the birth of my 3 boys, and all while holding down a full-time job as a heavy civil construction worker. My own mother and family had no idea what struggles I faced each day. This is what you call a functioning addict. I hid my addiction from everyone. Some might say, well, you were able to live an active life and still somewhat be productive, so what's the problem? The perception is wrong. I was killing myself. I was destroying everything I had worked so hard for and losing time with my children. There was no promise of tomorrow with how I had been partying. I was selfish. I did not care about anyone but my own self-satisfaction. I did not care if I had my children in the car with me. If I needed to go buy drugs, I would. Holidays, birthday parties, hell, even Flag Day. I was using any excuse to get banged up. I thought this made me more fun, more likable. The reality, I looked terrible. I burned through thousands of dollars. I was unreliable, a terrible partner and father. No Father of the Year awards for this guy. I'm not telling you this so you feel bad for me but to paint a picture on how addiction knows no race, financial status, or what you have to lose. As many of you probably hear in speeches like this, no one grows up saying, I want to be an addict. And this is true for me as well. No one says, I can't wait to have a family of my own, where I can get so high with my kids in the car and pass out at the wheel. I was so messed up. My poor son had to call his mother to come pick him up on the side of the road. You would think that one of these examples would be the story of my rock bottom. Sadly to say, it's not. I did not hit rock bottom until my last overdose that I should have died from. It hadn't been my life. If it hadn't been for my friend who found me, oh wait, actually that was not rock bottom either. As I was hooked up to IVs in the hospital, brought back to life, I thought it would be a good idea to finish my last bag of drugs I had in my pocket. Yeah, right, one last time. We've all heard that before. Even I was getting sick of hearing it. I was an addict who was never held accountable until now. I lost my kids, homes, the trust of my mother and family, and I had no direction in life. I was completely lost, broken. However, this disease prevents you from ever having a real chance. I am here to let you know that there can be hope. We need to arm ourselves with the proper support and want to accept the support. This is not something you or I can control. There's no quick fix to the magic solution to fix addiction. Getting sober is a journey. There is no right path or right way in getting sober. When I tell you is that recovering addicts need the support of loved ones, ones after getting professional assistance, so it is very important for you to encourage and motivate recovering addicts to stick to a drug-free life. Don't try and understand what motivates addicts. They will only leave you frustrated. And instead, educate yourself. Set boundaries, stick to them, and get support through your local organizations. Once again, my name is Dennis. I'm 40 years old, and I'm a recovering addict. I have been sober for 1 year and 7 months. I have since bought a new home. I have my kids back in my life, rebuilding positive relationship with my loved ones. My journey is not over. I will have to work hard on me for the rest of my life. I would like to just say thank you to a few people for helping me through this process. The Plymouth House, where I went to my first recovery, for helping me understand this allergy and this disease that a lot of us deal with. The Rockland House, the Rockland Recovery House, for giving me more support and giving me more structure on how to function in real life as almost a normal person. Through my recovery, I've heard a lot of people, family, children, like I explained. I just want to say a special thanks for them for sticking by me. My mom, my 3 sons, Rachel and Quinn, I love you all. And of course, the Rockland CARES for all you do for the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations. Okay, now it's time for our memorial video. If you haven't already, I'd please like to ask you to light your candles. We're lighting our candles for those who aren't able to physically be here with us tonight. In 2013, the original memorial slideshow contained 22 photographs that played to one single song. That was in 2013. Today, this video is about 25 minutes long. And it includes more than 300 individuals who have left this world too soon. So tonight, our candles shine bright for them.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Through many dangers, toils and snares, I have already come. 'Twas faith that brought my heart to fear, and grace will lead me home. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
Thank you for joining me tonight and joining all of us. We won't give up on this fight. I promise you that. So thank you for everyone. Tell their stories. Good night.